Welcome to Coffee and Tarot with Mama T. My name is Teresa, and I am welcoming you in for just a little chit chat, kind of a catch up on how January went with me and my January tarot, witchery, and overall spiritual practices. How my plans started out and how they ended up, and my successes and my failures. Wah wah wah. I had many. But that's fine. So for the year of 2026, I had a couple of things that were on my plan. One of them is my word of the year is sovereignty. And so that is something that I am thinking a lot about, and I'm thinking a lot about it in terms of my own spiritual practice. Really actually in every area of my life, how I have the right and responsibility to rule my life and to embody my life, to live my life. And it's not something that I can pass on or distribute or delegate to anybody else. My life is my own, and I am sovereign. And so that is my focus of the year. Last year, my word of the year was practice, and that was a great word of the year for me. There was a lot of ways that came into play for me. But this year, it is sovereignty, and I've been thinking a lot about it. My card of the year, I have two cards of the year. One of them is the Hierophant, and I'm a Taurus, and so the Hierophant is something that I definitely resonate with. I am calling in this Hierophant energy. This is just a Hierophant that I happen to have sitting right here at the handy. Calling in the Hierophant energy and utilizing the established wisdom, especially when it comes to my tarot practice. I am really calling in the Hierophant on my tarot practice so that I can learn from the established wisdom that's already out there. So some of the things that I have done when it comes to that is I've gotten some books that I plan on reading. I'm working on learning many new things when it comes to tarot and divination this year. And so I've purchased some books that I plan on studying. I've got them scheduled out throughout the year. And right now I am working on the Tarot Tableau Revolution, I think is what it's called. Just started reading that. I am reading Holistic Tarot by Benabel Wen. And then I've got some other books that I am using too. I don't have them handy, but I'm learning Thoth, I'm learning Marseille, I'm learning Lenormand. So I've got books on all of those, and the wisdom is already out there. I don't need to reinvent the wheel, and I am looking forward to utilizing that knowledge. The Seven of Pentacles is my other card of the year, which is kind of funny since, last year my word of the year was practice. So this is going to be a year of making adjustments. Apparently it is the time for my house to come alive, even though it's after 9 o'clock at night on a work night. I was thinking that it would be quiet, but no, not so much. That's when my wife started unloading the dishwasher and the dogs got their squeaky toys and well, whatever. Let me light a candle and kind of clear the air a little bit here. So it'll be a year of making adjustments. Check and adjust is my kind of a key phrase for the year for me. I did start off the year with goals for a low buy and no buy year based on nothing other than the amount of decks that I purchased last year. It was ridiculous. I hesitate to even admit how many decks I purchased last year. It was crazy. So that was the goal, and it wasn't because I'm worried about space in my home. Finances a little bit, money a little bit, but just because the economy is just so strange right now. So there is a little bit of that, but mostly just I was in a very big consumer mode and major dopamine hits when it came to scrolling and looking at decks, when it came to putting things in my cart and then getting the package, a little bit later, whenever that might come. And I just needed to break out of that mode. And I did a pretty good job for the first part of the year, partly because I did some panic buying right at the end of December. Like at December 31st, I'm like, I'm going to buy these 5 decks. And so something is going to be coming in that first week in January. And so that happened. And sure, that's easy to not buy things when you know things are coming in. And then I had a few pre-orders that I had ordered months before that I knew were going to be coming in sometime during January or February. I still have a couple of decks that are coming in. I've got the Blood Moon Tarot will be here on Monday, and something else. The Folk Art Lenormand will be here on Monday. And so, a couple of things coming in February. So I did pretty good for the first part. It didn't last. So I will admit that right now. A couple of things that happened was I'm going to blame my friend from Psychopomp of the Void. She has an amazing process of doing past life readings, and I was fascinated by that, watching her readings that she did for her mom. And that past life reading involves a lot of decks, and the past life oracle, I was like, I want to buy that. I was able to make it work for a reading for myself by utilizing some other decks that I had on hand, but I just really liked that past life oracle. I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to just buy that. But then there were a few other decks that she had involved that I was like, those are cheap and I can buy those. For example, the Place Oracle. This is a deck that is on Amazon, and it has all of these cards about various places that may be involved in a past life reading. And so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. When I did the first past life reading that I did, I was able to utilize utilize tarot cards, because every tarot card is associated with a certain part of the country, so I was able to kind of pinpoint things using tarot cards. But when it came to, this kind of thing, I was like, oh, it'll be fun to have that deck, and it's really cheap. So I went ahead and bought it. So that's her fault. It's my fault. It was my choice. It was a deliberate choice I made. I consciously made it. Another card deck that she had was the character oracles. Now, I have a lot of archetype oracles that I was able to use, but again, this was an inexpensive deck, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and buy that too. And this was, here's a few examples of the cards that are included in that will be useful when it comes to doing those kind of readings. They're also really good for, I'm a writer, they're also really great for storytelling. When you roll some dice, I love to gamify storytelling. Let's say I roll some dice and I get like this, what and why, and, maybe one of them, if one of them popped up as who, then I could use this character oracle to, then draw a number. Okay, well, I'm going to take card number 5, 3, 4, 5, and then, okay, I've got a farmer. And, so, I mean, that's just an example of how you can utilize these types of decks in other ways, not just for past life readings. And they are fun to use for storytelling, writing poetry, things like that. Another deck that I decided to purchase too was the Soul Contract card deck. Same type of thing involved. These are Amazon decks, and inexpensive, and these I thought were specifically useful for past life readings. So I went ahead and made the purchase, and I am looking forward to using them. Also, with Amber, when she was doing her readings, she also had this deck out, and this is called the Bloodlands Oracle. And this one was so special, I absolutely had to have it. These pictures depict lands that are, ancestral. Many of these pictures depict things that are from, or, that look like places that I have been or that are nearby me. Some of them obviously are not, but these are the kinds of images that really speak to my soul, because I used to roam woods almost exactly like this when I was a kid. I lived near a mountain, and I spent my days here. My parents had no clue where I was from, right after breakfast time until the street lights were coming on, and I had to check in at that time. Then I went back out. We went back out and played hide and seek and stuff like that with the neighborhood kids, but we didn't go out in the mountains at that time. But all day long I was out in the mountains, and hanging out at the river. It's a wonder I survived. But anyway, when I saw this deck, I absolutely had to have it. These look like places that I know and have been to or have lived near. And this deck is just very special, so I had to have it. It was January. I should not have been buying any, but I did. That is the Bloodlands Oracle. Then Cassandra on A Riffle in Time posted about how she did a bulk purchase of blue bones, and the idea of her sitting on a big pile of expensive ass decks that she purchased herself. I just was like, all right, I have to go ahead and take the dive in and buy one of those for myself. I had not purchased them up to that point because they are expensive, and buying things from Make Playing Cards, they take forever to arrive, and it's like, well, I'll do that later. I'll do it later. I'll purchase those some other day. And but when Cassandra said that she was doing a bulk order of them, I thought, well, I've got to support her shop while she's supporting deck creators. I am going to help out and do my part. So I bought that, and I am so happy I did. It's an amazing deck that I am really grateful to have. So I did take that tumble into that. She also was talking about dirt gems, and I was like, ooh, pretty. I am weak. I am telling you, I am a weak ass bitch, man. I have no self-control. So I bought this. The first one that I bought, it came without the guidebook, so I requested a replacement. And now I'm kind of like, well, maybe I'll just give the one without the guidebook over to my daughter. What the heck? If she needs the guidebook, then she can borrow mine. We live only a couple of blocks away from each other. So anyway, I bought that. This one, did I need to have this? I don't know if I needed to have it, but when I was watching Cassandra show them on her channel, they were just so cute and colorful, I had to. All right, so that is some of my, let me see, what else did I do for purchases? The Mystic Soul Tarot and Mystic Soul Oracle. My daughter and I were doing a like a coffee and chat kind of video on Saturday, and she was showing her copy of a deck that she had gotten as a freebie in one of her online orders, and she was like, this is an amazing deck, and I can't believe that there's no creator name on here. And I told her afterwards, I was like, that's probably a counterfeit deck. Let's just get the real one. So I ordered the real one, and that is on its way. I ordered that for her. I bought it for her. Her birthday's in April. This is going to be an early birthday gift. So I don't feel like that one counts, or those two count, because those are for her. Medieval Earth came in this month, but that was a pre-order. And the Inner Child Tarot, I bought that on an impulse as well. So, oopsie. I did order the Healers of the Earth Oracle from the same shop that does the Past Lives Oracle. It's Mandy something or another. I'll have to put that in here. Neither of those have arrived. So anyway, I think we can all agree that my low buy, no buy, it was never going to be a no buy. It was going to be a low buy. It was going to be no buying any decks for January and February because I already had decks coming in, and then buying maybe a deck a month for the rest of the year. I think I've, kind of blown all of that out of the water. But I am going to still try to be intentional about what I purchase. I don't think I need to purchase anything else for the month of February, certainly not, and I'm going to do my best not to do so. Cassandra's video recently that I will link in the description about supporting artists. This is the art that we choose to collect, that we choose to engage with. Having an intentional practice of purchasing some of that art is not a bad thing either, if you can afford it, and I can. And so I will be intentional about what I bring into my home and making sure I have a place on the shelves for it. Now, my reading practice for the month of January involved, I came to my tarot table. This is my tarot table right here. This is where I do my reading videos, but it's also where I do most of my tarot reading on a daily basis. I do read in my living room. I have two living rooms at the coffee tables there. Sometimes I'll just sit in a chair with a deck of cards, my dining room table, and I usually have at least a couple of decks in my bedroom that I look at before bed too. So I do spend a lot of time with a deck of cards in my hands, and Tom's video that he posted recently also will include that in the description. Instead of doom scrolling, broom scroll your tarot. I really liked the way he put that, and that I have done that the last couple of days. My daughter had gotten me a It was probably a counterfeit copy of, what is it called? Modern Witch Tarot. And I don't like having counterfeit stuff. It just happened to be a freebie from something that an order that she had put in. And I've talked to her about that, and she understands. She gets it. She knows why it's important to support the actual creators. But meanwhile, I have this little small deck, and it's easy to throw in my pocket and walk around the house with. And so I followed Tom's lead on that and took that deck of cards with me when I'd have a break from work and sat down with whatever question was on my mind or whatever I was trying to, whatever truth about myself I was trying to integrate. And I sat down with my cards and was like, okay, for 15 minutes, instead of doom scrolling on my phone or, compulsively shopping on my phone or compulsively watching, deck haul videos, I'm going to look at this tarot deck and I'm going to have each one of these cards is going to have an answer for me. Why am I restless? Why am I trying to find my own self-worth outside of myself when it comes to, getting dopamine hits from any kind of social media engagement? The likes, the comments, the subscriptions, things like that, and if you look and nothing has happened since the last time you looked, and it's like, oh, darn. Or if something has happened, then you get that little hit, that little jolt. But that's outside of yourself and you have no control over it, and it shouldn't have power over how you feel about yourself. And so I would use my tarot deck, and each card would have some kind of an answer for me. I'd just scroll through my deck of cards and let the cards speak to me and give me their wisdom. So that was a great practice, and I really appreciate him posting that. So let me see, what else am I doing as far as my practice goes for the month of January? One of the things that I'm doing is, over here is my altar, and I have the goddesses that I'm working with this year. I have their cards here. Thesson and Isis are my goddesses for the year. Thesson I work with in the morning and Isis at night, and they, I sometimes will pull cards from them or for them, and include them here on the altar. I give them little offerings of crystals or herbs or whatever. Quotes. I've been doing the Poesis Oracle with them and pulling a card for each of them, one at night and one in the morning, and then looking up the poem and reading the poem out loud and meditating upon it. And it's amazing how often those cards actually align with my understanding, my growing understanding of these goddesses. I know almost nothing about them. Don't tell me anything about them. I'm learning about them intuitively, and after I've been working with them for about 6 months, then I will do a bunch of reading on them to find out whether or not my intuition was aligned with what the established wisdom is on them. I got this idea from Haxa on natural witchery. She also has a tarot channel, Tarot and Witchery, but I think she posted this idea on natural witchery, and I will link that video too. And it has been just an amazing practice that I have done for this month. I have worked with some deck pairings. One of the other decks that I purchased as a result of wanting to do past life readings was the Relative Tarot. And so I'll just show you some of those cards too, because I just have them out. I've got most of the major arcana, except for the ones that have nudity, right here. I thought these were really cool, and they've got like these relative pictures of somebody's relative, and have them established as one of the characters of the major arcana. And I was thinking about this big stack of photographs that I have of my grandmother and all of her sisters back in North Dakota, where they would get dressed up in their fanciest clothes and take pictures of themselves. And I was thinking, man, I might turn those into an oracle deck or something. So I'm going to dig those out sometime during the month of February. That's one of the things that I'm going to do as a practice during February. So that's the relative tarot. And let's see here. A couple of the pairings, I did participate in the PB January decks video tag, and one of the pairings that I shared about there is one that I have consistently used through the month, and that is the Tarot Landscapes and Seed and Sickle. This has just never failed me. This has really been a very soothing combination to look at and to read from in the evening before bed. And so I have carded these cards around with me quite a bit. I have taken them to work with me. I have a little padded lunch bag that I use specifically for tarot cards. I've never used it for anything else. I just love this Hierophant. This is my favorite Hierophant card ever. Anyway, I have hauled these card decks around with me quite a bit and have really enjoyed reading with them, and enjoyed the messages that I've gotten from them this month. Love that Queen of Pentacles too. Just love it. And then another deck pairing that I have worked a lot with this month is such a surprise to me. This was an accidental thing. I happened to have my Maria Tide Thoth deck with me because I am learning Thoth this year. I know Thoth to a certain extent, but I want to get to be a really intuitive reader with Thoth. I had that with me, and then the only other oracle deck that I had was the Comfy Cozy Witch. And what a surprise these two decks have been. They have been shockingly in line with each other. I have just been amazed. The Queen of Pentacles and Blanket Magic. How cozy is that? Gosh. Honey and the Five of Swords. The Fool and Summer Solstice. Light and Celebration. Gosh, I just love that. I mean, I'm just shocked that these two things they could not possibly be more different in style and tone, but they have just actually worked. Just I did it on accident one day, and the reading was so spot on and so incredible that I have kept them together for the last couple of weeks. Wow. Anyway, so that has been the other pairing that I have spent quite a bit of time with this month. There were others that I also worked with. Hush and Woodland Wardens, Hush Tarot and Woodland Wardens. That's something that I have come back to several times as well. this month. For the month of February, I am going to continue on reading the Tableau Tarot Revolution and the Thoth book and Holistic Tarot. So I'll be continuing on those. My goals for the channel for the month of February is I want to get back into doing tarot scopes, and I'll probably do some deck reviews after I've had more time working with certain decks. I may do some deck reviews. I also think that I will do recordings. I'll continue my short daily recordings, but I have these other moments where I am feeling like I need to read, and I don't know why. So kind of like intuitive readings where they may be for somebody in my collective group. So I may do more of those and get those out there. And those will be more sporadic in nature, rather than just keeping those to myself, because I do that frequently, but rather than keeping them to myself, I will just go ahead and post them. My deck plans for the month of February is I'm planning on doing like fairy tale decks. Since the month of February is the month of Valentine's Day and my wife's birthday is in the month of February, I am going to do some fairy tale decks for my daily read decks, if I can tear myself away from some of the other things that I really have been enjoying. But like, Tarot of the Divine, this is a good one for the month of February, so I think I will do this one. And so I'll be reading from that one, and then I'll also be reading from Tarot dos Cantos de Fadas. So this is a fairy tale deck as well. This is all in Portuguese, and so I will have to really rely on my limited Spanish knowledge and my experience with Disney movies, because they're very like Disney inspired. And my intuition. And Google. If I absolutely have to Google the definition on something, then I will do that too. But I don't speak Portuguese, and so I am going to have to rely on those other things. But this is going to be a deck that I ever since I've purchased it, I was like, I'm going to spend February with this deck. And this deck I blame on Lady Cara. She showed it one day on her channel, and I was like, that is stunning. I'm going to buy that. And so I had to go to Amazon, the Spain Amazon, in order to purchase it, in order to find it. And it's beautiful. She used it during the month of January and reports that it is more of a shadow deck than she bargained for. So this will be my shadow deck for the month of February. I will give that a shot. And then I have some other fairy tale decks that I will use for my other daily readers, for my personal reading. I will, so these will definitely be something that I spend a lot of time with and hopefully get to know really well. They're just stunning cards. Just beautiful. And then I will use the Fairy Tale Tarot by Lisa Hunt. I'll use this one as well. This is blue. It's not red or pink like Erin on The Witch of Saturn. She is asking everybody to show their pink and red decks that they're going to be using for the month of February, but this is a fairy tale thing, and I think I'll just focus on the fairy tale stuff, the fairy tale angle for the month of February, because I don't have tons of red and pink. My wife does have an affinity toward, she likes kids' movies. She likes things that are happy, and so, I mean, she really likes Pixar movies and stuff like that, but I don't have any of those kind of decks. But fairy tale we can definitely come up with. Another one that I thought of is the Cosmic Slumber, that I haven't spent as much time on this deck as I would like to, and it is, there is some good pink coloring on this one. And I think this will be, and I've wanted to spend more time with this deck anyway, so I will include this for February. And of course the Inner Child Tarot, I will include these for the month of February as well, considering they are fairy tale cards. Okay, so there's that. What's nice is that I do also have the Inner Child cards workbook to go with, so can use that as well as the guidebook. Okay, another red deck is the Boudica's Tarot. Boudica's Tarot of Earthly Delights. This will probably have some good shadow aspects to it as well. I've done a little bit of a flip through on this before, but this I think will be a great one for the month of February as well. So it's a little bit nude. So that will be, those will be, I think that's plenty. That's plenty of decks to be utilizing for the month of February, and I will let you know how that goes. I don't have any pairings planned for any of these at this point, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. I'm sure I'll come up with something cool. So there you go. Some successes, some epic failures, but you know, you live and learn, and you grow, and that's exactly what I'm going to keep on keeping on doing. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel and you like this kind of content, please consider doing so, and I will see you in my next video. Take care. Bye now.